Okay, welcome everyone. It is Tuesday, July 6th at 6:30. This is a special meeting of the Norwich Select Board. I am here in Tracy Hall with Herb Durfee and Miranda Bergmeyer, and I am joined remotely by board members Mary Layton, Marcia Calloway, Claudette Berchoux, and also Rob Gear, who is joining us from a vacation site. Thank you, Rob. Yes, the first order on the business the first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
A
Thank
second.
Okay. By Mary, or made by Claudette, seconded by Mary. Any further discussion? Okay. We're going to roll call because I don't see Rob's face, which is okay. Mary, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Marcia, how do you vote?
Yes.
Claudette, how do you vote?
Yes.
Rob, how do you vote? Rob, you have to push, if you're on your phone, you have to *6.
Maybe you can do this thumbs up icon.
Can you? No, we can't.
There we go. Yes.
Yes, he votes yes to approve the agenda, and I'm a yes. Thank you, unanimous. Great. The next item on the agenda is public comment. Would any member of the public like to speak to an item, not anything that's not on the agenda? Okay. Any select board comments? Okay. Excellent. And then the main event is to set the FY 21-22 property tax rate. We are to discuss and approve the homestead and non-residential tax rates for the fiscal year 21-22. There were some packet materials for review. Can we actually begin with a motion?
All right, I'll move what's on our motion sheet. I move to set the fiscal year 2021-22 total homestead tax rate at 2.4358, equal to a school homestead rate of 1.8625, a town rate with local agreement of 0.5659, and a county rate of 0.0074, and the non-residential tax rate at 2.3589, equal to a school non-residential rate of 1.7856, a town rate with local agreement of 0.5659, and a county rate of 0.0074.
Thank you, Mary. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, made by Mary, seconded by Rob. Okay, now let's have a discussion. Any discussion? Go ahead, Marcia.
I'd appreciate sort of a brief walkthrough and including a definition of local agreement.
Sure. Would it be okay if I ask our town manager to help us with that? Okay. Herb, may you? We're sharing today.
Can you folks hear me okay? So essentially in the packet, you have the sheet that has the little yellow bar at the top. What that shows, just to walk you through that, essentially I'm going to stick to the middle column, which is the FY22 information. But up at the top, you have the grand list that was just established by the listers this past week. The 1% of that is the key amount. So that's where you get from the 758 million down to 7.5 or 7.6 million. Comcast has an amount that the listers do with regard to the agreement we have with them, which is the cable. That's that 1.175 number. The town exemptions come over from, I had sent the spreadsheet, but it's basically the second page in your packet there that talks about local agreement taxes. So the 1.046 million is a total related to the town voted exemptions that you just re-upped, including Beaver Meadow Chapel, the Community Grange, the Norwich Fire District, and the Root District Game Club. And you can see the specific amounts that we've made arrangements with. And then under the homestead side of stuff, the veterans have those that sign up for the veterans have an exemption that they can get. For those, there's something that's under 10,000 and over 10,000 as it pertains to the education taxes. And that's 240,000. And the packet that I gave you had I'm sorry, I missed the voted amounts. And then the veterans I included in there as a separate sheet. I did blank out the names of the individuals, but the parcel is still there, and you can see the amount of local agreement exemption that they get for that off of their grand list. And then there's 3 remaining things that are related to an energy voted type of thing that pertain to the 3 individuals that are on there, which also appears on the contract sheet in the packet that I gave you, along with those other voted exemptions. So all of that together equals the 1.4670. There's some stuff on the right-hand side that just shows what the non-residential versus the homestead part of that is, but the key number is that 1.046 million. That's the amount that factors into the exemption for the local agreement. That should answer, at least in part, your question, Marcia. And then I'm going to skip over the yellow bar for right now. So when we go back to that original sheet, you have the total town budget without the articles of $4,780,866. All of the voted articles underneath that are itemized. So there's a total town expenditure of $5,176,134. Then you have your offsetting revenue that's not related to property taxes. And that's where the property tax fees and interest, the current use, permits and licenses, intergovernmental are the remaining offsetting revenues there, amounting just over 900,000. So the simple subtraction there, the $4,273,000, sorry, I'm rushing too fast. $4,273,708 is the amount of funds that you need to raise from property taxes. The local, based on the grand list with that figure, the local agreement taxes that we need to come up with, that goes up just a little bit so that you're helping out those with the local agreement or those that have been voted. Now going back up to the yellow bar, the state, based on the submitted grand list information, the way that the listers do their calculation, and this basically is done almost automatic or pretty much automatically through our lister module from the NEMRIC module that we have. The state provides us the education rates. So the homestead tax rate for us, for the schools, is 1.8625, and the non-residential tax rate is 1.7856. When you put those numbers in down at the bottom, you'll see the school and the non-residential rates, the same numbers down there, the 1.86 and the 1.78. The town tax rate with a local agreement based on the grand list and the amount of money that we need to raise results in a 0.5659 town tax rate. The Windsor County rate simply is taking over on your second page again, Windsor County, it requires us this year of $55,894. Again, you do the simple division with the grand list to come up with a 0.0074. So for the town homestead tax rate, you add the school homestead tax rate plus the town tax rate plus the Windsor County rate. That gives you the 2.4358. And then for the non-residential rate, you take the school non-residential rate of 1.7856, again the town tax rate, and again the Windsor County rate, and that gives you the 2.3589. Okay, is that, especially Marcia, since you haven't been on the board before, is that clarifying enough? Okay.
That's good. But local agreement basically means those exemptions.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. It's the voted exemptions essentially. Yes, it's all had a level of voter approval.
Great.
That was in the
Thank
first-
you.
That was when we started the longer explanation. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So is-
Go ahead, Marcia.
So does this look in line with other years? And what does it do for the projected huge increase of the homestead tax?
The local agreement. So you're asking if the local agreement has changed from previous years and how it has and how it has impacted or not the homestead? Is that right?
Well, the school tax was going to go up, we understood, with S13 majorly, right? And so I'm wondering,
Not known yet.
That
not,
legis-
no,
Not yet.
okay.
Yes, that's legislation that hasn't been enacted.
So this then, how does this compare with prior years?
So if you look at, you can see also on the sheet in the more or less the right-hand column, you can see last year's rates next to the colored rates down at the bottom. So essentially we're looking between, so the school stuff has increased 2 or 3%, whether it's the homestead or the non-residential respectfully. The town tax rate basically has gone up 6% this year. And a lot of that has to do, if you remember, we restored a number of the designated funds. And then the Windsor County rate's gone down slightly because there's a little bit less debt that we're paying, or that the whole region is paying. So that overall, when you combine all of that, the homestead rate's going up about 3%, 3.25%, and the non-residential is almost at 4% at 3.9. So that's comparison to last year. And then in the packet, I also just tried to give you a pictorial representation. And that was the graphic that had in there the town and the school homestead tax rates over time that goes back to 1993. And then just as a matter of trying to give people a perspective, just before that chart is a table that just has at the top handwritten estimated taxes. What I did was based on last year's rates and this year's rates, I did just listed values of homesteads for the town tax rate, the town budget without articles, other monetary articles, and the local agreement, so that folks could see a little bit of a breakdown if your listed value, not like the sale price of your house, but what your listed value is, what the expected taxes might, the estimated taxes could be, so you can see the increase from the previous year as well.
So one last question on table I-15, because my thing isn't in color, which one is the total town and which one is the Marion Cross line?
So the school homestead tax rate takes into consideration the school district, the Dresden assessment, and the high school assessment. That's all combined together.
Right.
The same thing for the non-resident. Well, the non-residential is just a politically derived number by the legislature, has no bearing on the school whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about this little chart. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is in the town report, though, also.
Right.
Mark.
So on page I-15 of the current town report, that's where I took this out of.
Got it.
The figures there, you need the actual amounts. I need to go back to my computer to print out the amounts, but every year this table corresponds to an accompanying table that shows what the estimated taxes are expected to be and have been. So this gives the little, and in those breakdowns, I get help from the school district with regard to Marion Cross versus Dresden versus the total school.
And I can also send the most recent town meeting day presentation, because we've included in both this year's and last year's, we've included a version of these charts. They are the projected totals, but we could update them with the actuals, and then you will have that as well.
Great, thank you.
Is that it, Marcia?
That's it. Thanks so much.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you for asking these questions, Marcia. We had the benefit of an overview of the documents as a result. Any further discussion from folks? Okay, I would just like to thank the listers. I would obviously Herb for his work in these calculations, and just the school, our school partners who do the work for these calculations. So obviously, we approve it, we do some budgetary work, but there's other actors involved in getting us here. So in a very difficult year, I think we all thank them, right? So, okay, I'm gonna call the question if there's not further discussion. Okay, I'm gonna call the question. So all in favor of approving this, this tax rate as Mary read to us, please raise your hand. Say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. That was unanimous. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Is there a second? Seconded by Rob. Okay, made by Mary, seconded by Rob. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay. We're good. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
you.
you.